We're talking about some bar work today, kipping pull-ups and muscle-ups. So we're going to go through a couple of progressions. First one's going to be how to feel hip power, and then how to get that hip power transfer into our arms. Because remember, when we do muscle-ups, when we do kipping pull-ups, it's a hip exercise. Clearly there's arms involved, obviously, because we're pulling up, right? But how to feel that energy transfer from one part of our body to the other. So number one, you guys have probably seen this, I do it a lot, is we want to know how or feel how we generate power with our hips without our arms. And I think that's pretty important. That's pretty much all of sport, all of CrossFit. So first thing we're going to do is we're in this position here, and I'll demonstrate where this position is later on. And I'm going to pop, generate force. Did I use my arms to lift my hips off of the air? If you guessed yes, you were wrong. Okay, watch again. No arms, pop, boom. So I generated some force, right? So now what we want to do is we come over to this drill, and I like this drill a lot because it helps us feel hip power or hip drive, and then how we kind of whip that into the arm, which again comes back to the kipping pull-up and or the muscle-up. Check this out. About to blow your minds. The first thing we want to do, right? I'm not going to be nearly as aggressive as that, but we can still feel it, right? As I'm going to start with my arms fully extended. This is when I'd be on the bar, right? And I'm going to power through my hips. Notice how my arms haven't really done a whole lot, right? Power through my hips. So my hips are closed, my hips are open. Now check this out, right? It's hips are closed, hips are open, and then I'm going to yank through my arms. Boom, boom. So can I see a whip? Again, one more time. Boom, boom. And see how high I get? And see how there's slack in the rings too, right? I'm floating. Boom, boom. Good. Perfect. Skip it, bop, bop, bop. Chalk's super important. All right, guys, so step one, we talked about the hip drive and that hip drive and transfer into the arms. So now in step two, we're going to apply those concepts to the actual kipping pull-up and then the chest to bar pull-up. Now, obviously, guys, if you can't do strict pull-ups, doing the kipping or doing the chest to bar might be a little out of reach right now. So make sure that we're still trying to develop that overall baseline strength for that strict movement. So, chalk, chalk, chalk. Right, so now with the kipping, right, again, hopefully we already know how to do this, so we're not going to touch on it too long, is we're going to do the same hip drive from step one into that arm transfer. So I'm going to show you, right? So I'm hanging on the bar, here's my beat swing, right? Now here's the position where I start to close the hip, right? I start to close the hip. Close the hip. Now watch what happens, right? Boom, boom. You guys see that? So I pop my hip, pull in the arms, just like the wave that I did in step one. Again, here we go. Close the hip, and boom, boom. Okay? Now, what we need to recognize there is it's all the power from the hip. I'm floating, right? And what I want you guys to think about, right? We're attacking the rig. We're being as aggressive as we can through the hip when we start to get that chest to bar pull. So let's watch how high I go just from that hip power. Ready? Here we go. Boom, boom. Wow, look at that. I'm not that strong. Right? Again, my hips are though, right? And boom, boom, boom. So I start to generate a lot of force with the hip, and I just transfer all that energy into the arms. Now, with that, the last thing I want to touch on before we move on is if I can do strict pull-ups, and even more importantly, if I can do strict chest to bar pull-ups, that tells me that these muscles are really strong, really powerful, a lot of raw pulling strength. And if I combine a lot of raw pulling power with a lot of explosive power, guess what happens? A lot of powerful movements, pull-ups, whatever. So watch the strict chest to bar real quick. I'm here, and I'm all the way up. Ooh. Now imagine that combined with some powerful hips. Bada bing. Okay, so in step two, guys, we talked about how lat power can really help powerful hips to generate more upward lift when we do kipping and or chest to bar pull-ups. So we're going to take that one step further in step three, and what we're going to see is if I can really get a really hard pull straight down, I'll show you guys in a minute, of getting that bar as close to the hip as humanly possible, and then I pop, I'm already over the bar, right? So I'm going to show you a good rep of what strong lats looks like. I'm going to show you a bad rep of what weak lats might look like, right? So here's the good rep, and I'm going to do a couple of, I call them lat pulls, so you'll see them, right? So when I'm here, I jump up, Now watch how close I can get my hips to the bar. Now this takes some time to develop as far as how strong the shoulders can get, right? So I'm kipping, here's my close, and boom, boom, right? So I'm really close to that bar. So all I have to do at that point is just, I just have to sit over and drive out. So I'm gonna show you a good rep, and I'm gonna show you a bad rep. So here's a good rep, right? Call it a high bar muscle up, right? So I'm gonna get my hips really close to the bar again, really close, ready? And boom, boom. I say it right over the top, ball it, right? Pretty easy, right? Now let's say I don't have really strong lats, so let's say even double that, I would say I don't really have even strong hips. I can still get a muscle up, it just might not be efficient. So you see a lot of people do it, it's called chicken winging, right? So yeah, I'll show you this, guys. I'm gonna only get my chest to the bar, now my hip to the bar, and I'm gonna be sloppy with my elbows. So let's watch this. All right, so I'm here. So let's say I'm kind of doing this, right? Not too great, ready, and ooh, oh. Notice the difference, right? So in that first rep, guys, it's so hard to talk and do stuff, cardio, Sarah, the first rep I was so close, sitting over wasn't a huge challenge for me, but that second rep, if I got here, with not a lot of lat pull and not a lot of hip drive, you saw how low I caught that, which is gonna cause more work for me at the top of the bar and potential shoulder injury. Woo! Okay, and then the last thing is grip. I think grip, a lot of people might not talk about this, so I think it's really important. So a lot of people, when they do pull-ups, they grab low. Notice the angle of my knuckles. So my knuckles are kind of straight up, and what I would rather see you guys do is rotate over the top. So now, I'm kind of in this direction. So here's one, here's two. Or a way I like to think about it is we're pointing straight towards the ceiling. Now, textbook guys are supposed to wrap your thumbs. That's a hard position for me, so I unwrap them. Again, textbook, Stefan. Textbook, Stefan. Now watch what happens to my wrist. If I'm down and I'm doing a muscle up, tell me if my hand moves. Boom, pop my hips, boom. Did my hand do anything? If you guessed yes, you were wrong. It didn't do anything, right? Maybe it did, I don't know. Again, right here, knuckles are forward, I pop, boom. I sit over, so I don't have to then rotate in this weird position on metal, right? So that's why we want those knuckles over. A lot of forearm strength here, but again, it makes for an efficient transfer, so I'm ready to automatically dip out. Other than that, guys, 2 or 3 hours practice, you'll have it down flat, no problem. Be better, start now. Ninja skills every day. See ya.